राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
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 यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन।
यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन।
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन।
यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
यमुनातीरवनचारी।
यमुना तीर वनचारी।
यमुनातीरवनचारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
जय राधा गोकुलानंद राधा गोकुलानंद राधे।
राधा गोकुलानंद राधा गोकुलानंद राधे।
जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय Baladeva Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Gauranita, 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 Jaya Gauranita.
Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman.
Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Vande Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakaacharya Shudha Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulanand ki Jai. Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. Shri Vijay Dashami Mahotsav ki Jai. Shri Ramachandra Vijayotsav ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga ki Jai. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So a hearty welcome to all the devotees who have joined us via Facebook and other platforms. Very warm greetings to all of you on the occasion of Sri Ramachandra Vijayotsav or Vijayadashami or Dasera. It is an important festival, generally in the Vedic culture and also specifically for Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Popularly, it is known as Dasera, but the word Dasera is actually a corruption of the word Dasha Ahara. Ahar Nishi. Ahar in Sanskrit means day. Nishi means night. So Dasha means 10. So Dasha and Ahara, which means the 10th day. So this is the 10th day in the waxing fortnight of the month of Ashwin. Ashwin Shukla Paksha Dashami. The tithi or the day is Dashami, so 10th day. So therefore, the way the word Dasara or Dasahara is a bit of a derivation from that. So because it happens on this particular day. So it is also called Vijaya Dashami. Now, many significant events happened on this day, and I will just mention them briefly before I discuss a little bit at length the important event connected to Lord Ramachandra. Generally, it is said that on this day, Goddess Durga killed the demon Mahishasur, who was in the form of a Mahish or a buffalo. And the battle raged for 10 days. And after 9 days of fighting, she finally killed him on the 10th day. So those 9 days are also the Navaratri. And then the 10th day is the Dashami Tithi, when that is celebrated. So it marks the victory of Durga over Mahishasur. So that is, so in Eastern India, you will find they call it Vijaya. It's so Vijaya Dashami, they skip the Dashami. In India, it's called by both these names. In the north, mostly it will be Dasera. In the east, or in some parts of the south of India, it will be mostly Vijaya Dashami and similar other local names. Of course, Dasera is also very famous because this is the day on which Lord Ramachandra killed Ravan in Lanka. And we'll talk about that a little more in detail as we go on. It also marks the beginning of one of the harvest seasons. It is also the time when new, the 9 types of grains, cereals, pulses, and barley and many other things are sown in pots. Is called Navadhanya, 9 types of grains. Yes. So that's also done at this time. And also, as far as those people who are attached to Vedic culture, you are aware of the different samskaras that are done. There are 16 samskaras. The 10 are more important. One of them is called the Vidyarambha, which is when a child's education begins. So there is a plate of raw rice, and then somebody, the father or the grandfather or mother, somebody takes the finger of the child and makes the child trace out the alphabets in that plate of rice. So that marks the beginning of the learning or the education of the child. So it's called Vidyarambha. So traditionally, that also happens on this day. But of course, generally, the Vidyarambha is supposed to happen when the child is about 6 months old. So, but nevertheless, this is considered an auspicious day for that. It is also the day on which Madhvacharya, the great Acharya from the Brahma Madhva Sampradaya, he appeared. So his birthday, his appearance day was on Vijayadashami, or the day of Dasera. Also, there is another interesting pastime that happened on this day, which is why it is also called Vijayadashami. And that pertains to a pastime in the Mahabharata. Now, as we all know, the Pandavas were sent into exile for 12 years. And there was a condition that they should go into further 1 year of exile. And in that 13th year of exile, they should be incognito, which means nobody should know their whereabouts or their identities. And if their identities became revealed, then they would have to do the 12 years of exile all over again. So in the 13th year of the exile, the Pandavas went to the kingdom called Matsya, and the king there was Virat. So they changed their appearance. They went in the guise of ordinary people, not of princes. They disguised their real identity, and they took up various professions or jobs with the king of Matsya, whose name was Virat. So Bhimsen became the cook, and Arjun became the dance teacher, and so on and so forth. So they stayed there for 1 year. And what happened is that the commander-in-chief of the army of King Virat, Kichak, he was behaving indecently towards Draupadi. So Draupadi complained to Bhimsen. So Bhimsen um, then accosted him in the darkness of night and killed him. Now, Kichak was a very, very powerful person, physically very strong. And when the news spread of Kichak having been killed, naturally the spies of Duryodhan brought the message to him. And Duryodhan understood that if Kichak was killed in this manner, it is only Bhima who could have done it. So he surmised that the Pandavas must be in the kingdom of King Virat, the Matsya kingdom. So he set out with his whole army. And when they reached the outskirts of King Virat's kingdom, they took away the cattle. So they attacked on the pretext of, uh, taking away the cattle. But the actual intention was to ascertain whether the Pandavas were there. However, it so happened that by the time the Kauravas came to the king of Matsya's kingdom, Virat's kingdom, that 13th year was already over. So actually this day marked the end of that 13th year. So when there was such an attack on the kingdom, naturally the king sent out his army. But what happened was that some others had attacked from another direction. So then the king's army was sent in that direction. So then who was now left to fight with the Kauravas? So King Virat's son, whose name was Uttar, and Virat's daughter was Uttara. So Uttar was very young, very inexperienced, and in a fit of bravado, he said that I will go and fight with the Kauravas and defeat them. And they got onto the chariot, and Arjuna understood that he wouldn't be able to do it. So he said to Prince Uttara that I will become your charioteer. So Arjuna drove the chariot, and when Virat's son Uttara saw the Kaurava armies assembled there, he panicked and ran away from the chariot. He fled the battlefield, and Arjuna had to go back and actually bring him back physically, forcibly. Now, what Arjuna had done, and all the other Pandavas too, because in this 1 year they would not be living as Kshatriyas, so they had hidden all their weapons within a tree called the Shami tree. Shami is a type of a tree. So then Arjuna went to that tree and he retrieved his Gandiva bow and other celestial weapons. And then he pacified Uttar and said, don't worry, I will take care of this army. And then Arjuna went into battle. And all the big leaders of the Kauravas had gathered there for the battle, and their armies had also come in very large numbers. So when they were attacked, everybody came there, and Arjuna defeated every single one of these great powerful warriors who had all attacked him at the same time. Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, Karna, Duryodhan, and Shakuni, Dushasan, all of them were defeated not once but multiple times. And Arjuna established that is the reason why he was considered the greatest warrior on the planet, on the surface of the globe. Actually, he also killed Karna's foster brother, and whose name was Sangramajit. And Karna, at that when Arjuna attacked Karna, Karna actually fled from the battlefield. So these are the events that happened in that battle. So very decisively, Arjuna defeated the entire leadership of the Kaurava army and all the Kaurava soldiers who had come there as well. And many years and some time later, Bhishma would taunt Duryodhana and Karna about this incident. And he would say, you are claiming, Karna, you are boasting that you will defeat Arjuna, but you remember what happened in the kingdom of Virat. And we were all comprehensively defeated. So anyway, this particular battle happened on this day. And Arjuna's name is also Vijay. Arjuna has many names, like Gudakesh, one who has conquered sleep, Sabyasachi, one who can shoot with both arms, ambidextrous, and so on. So one of his names is Vijaya, which means that he's always victorious. So because Arjuna emerged victorious on this day against all the Kauravas, so this day is also called Vijaya Dashami because of this. So these are the different important events that happened on this day. But as far as we are concerned, the most important event, of course, is that Lord Ram defeated Ravan and killed him on this particular day. Roughly, the Ram-Ravan battle may have gone on for about 10 days. There are differing descriptions or versions in the different scriptures. And the descriptions in the Valmiki Ramayana are very detailed about how the battle went on. And time does not permit us to go into too many details. So I will try to give a summary of the events that led up on the battlefield to the killing of Ravana by Ram, and a brief description of what happened after Ravana was killed. And we will try to also see briefly the significance of this event. So when the battle was raging fiercely on the battlefield in Lanka, just outside the city, it went on for many days. And Lakshmana finally, after 3 days of fighting with Indrajit or Meghnad, finally killed him. As we all know, Meghnad or Indrajit was the son of Ravan, and he was very, very brave and powerful. So when Lakshman killed Ravana's favorite son, Ravana became very enraged, and he ferociously attacked, Lakshman. But before he did that, he went to Ashok Vatika, the garden where Sita Devi had been held prisoner. And he announced that he would actually go and physically kill Sita. You see, what Indrajit or Meghnad had done earlier in the battlefield was that by his mystic power, he had created a false Sita and created some magic spell by which everybody thought that Sita had been killed. So when Lord Ram and Lord Lakshman, they heard this, they were very, very sorry to hear that. But finally, then it was clarified that this was just some mystic trick that Indrajit had done. But Sita was very much alive in Ashok Vatika. So now Ravan said, this time I'm not going to do any mystic trick. I'm not going to kill Sita just in illusion. I'm actually going to kill her. So in great anger, he moved out from his place and went to Ashok Vatika. So his queens also went after him. Mandodari and others were trying to dissuade him from doing that. One of his wise ministers also strongly advised Ravana not to kill Sita. He said, she's not your enemy. Your enemies are on the battlefield. And it is not very valorous of you to kill a defenseless person, and that to a woman. You are fighting against her and killing her like this. It will do your reputation great harm. On the other hand, if you focus your energies on killing the enemies who are on the battlefield, then once you have killed Ram, then Sita can be with you. So somehow or the other, the minister convinced Ravana, and Ravana agreed. So Sita Devi at that time, of course, was expecting that she will be killed by Ravana, because Ravana stormed in with his weapons in a very menacing spirit. So after he is convinced by his minister and others to not kill Sita, Ravana tells his soldiers to go and ferociously attack Ram and to attack Ram and Lakshman. So fierce was the battle there that all the monkey soldiers, the Vanaras took um, shelter of Lord Ram's lotus feet. And Lord Ram, then he invoked his celestial weapons, starting with the Gandharva weapon. And he said, only Lord Shiva and I have the power to invoke and employ these weapons. And then Lord Ram began devastating the army of the Rakshasas. And in large numbers, the Rakshasa soldiers were killed. So when they were lying on the battlefield, then the wives of those slain Rakshasa soldiers, they also came there, and they were grieving and crying and wailing loudly, lamenting for the loss of their husbands. And they began to curse Shurpanakha, the sister of Ravana. And they said, actually, the entire fault is with Shurpanakha. Because of that evil woman, today we are in this position. Had she not gone and complained to Ravana and instigated him to start this war, we would not have been here. And even if after that happened, if our foolish king had listened to his younger brother Vibhishan, things would have been much better. We would not have been here, we would not have lost our husbands. So when Ravana was hearing all this, he began to hiss like a snake that has been trampled upon. He became very furious. He called his armies. He summoned his celestial chariots, which had 8 horses, and he took all his principal weapons, which had come from the demigods. And he had hundreds of thousands of chariot warriors and elephants and many, many other types of soldiers. And they all marched out into the battlefield. And so much was the devastation on the Vanara side, on the monkey side, that the monkeys panicked. They became very afraid. And then Ravana approached Ram. Ravana also created havoc in the army of Lord Ram. Then Ravana approached Ram, and a fierce duel took place between the two of them for a long time. And the other soldiers on both sides on the battlefield, they stopped fighting simply to look at this particular battle. So wherever they were stationed, they were gazing with wonder at this fierce battle that was going on between Lord Ramachandra and Ravana. And Ravana, he had been blessed with many mystic powers, and therefore he could invoke many celestial weapons. And he started releasing them on Lord Ram. And Lord Ram, of course, being the Supreme Lord, he was not short of mystic powers and celestial weapons. So he invoked his own celestial weapons to counteract the weapons that were released by Ravana. So this went on for quite some time. Meanwhile, Vibhishan also began to attack Ravana. He attacked his older brother, and he killed his chariot and his horses and destroyed the chariot. So now Ravana was on the ground. He had lost his chariot. And Ravan became so enraged with Vibhishan that he attacked him to kill him. Meanwhile, Lakshman came to the rescue of Vibhishan. And then somehow or the other, Ravan was kept engaged by Lakshman, so he could not kill Vibhishan. And now Ravan turned his attention to Lakshman. So Lakshman was in the target of Ravan for many reasons. One is because he had killed his favorite son, Indrajit. Second, because now he had prevented Ravana from killing Vibhishan, whom Ravana considered like a traitor. And third, Lakshman was the powerful brother of Lord Ram, his enemy. So Ravana attacked Lakshman. Again, a fierce battle took place, and Ravana released a spear, a celestial spear. And despite the chanting of mantras to protect Lakshman from that, it did strike Lakshman. Lakshman was hurt and he fell on the battlefield unconscious. Lord Ram was infuriated and he attacked with a vengeance. And when he attacked so powerfully that Ravana was forced to flee the battlefield. Then, taking advantage of this opportunity, Lord Ram rushed towards Lakshman and he began to grieve, thinking that Lakshman's life was in danger. Meanwhile, Sushen, one of the monkey chiefs, who was also well versed in the medical sciences, he said, Lord Ram, please don't worry. His life is not in danger. He is unconscious. But by the different symptoms, looking at him, I can understand that he will come back to external consciousness soon, but I will need some medicines. So I suggest that we should dispatch Hanuman immediately. And he should go there to the Mahodaya mountain and get a variety of herbs, of which the famous Sanjeevani herb is just one. But there are other types of herbs also which he wanted to bring. So Lord Ram agreed to this proposal and Hanuman made a second leap. As you know, the first leap that Hanuman made was over the sea to find Lanka. And this was the second time that Hanuman made a leap all the way from Lanka. He crossed the ocean and went to the Mahodaya mountain. And there he was supposed to bring back certain types of herbs, but he could not identify and recognize specifically which herbs that Sushen had wanted. So what did he do? And we've all heard this story since childhood, that Hanuman just simply lifted the mountain. Easy solution for Hanuman. For us, it is not an easy solution. It's not a solution at all. So he just lifted the whole mountain and brought it. And then Sushen was struck with wonder to see the prowess of Hanuman. And then he took out the relevant medicines that he needed, the herbs from the mountain. And then he made some medicines out of that. And then Lakshman was revived. So this was a very famous pastime that has happened in Ramayana. Meanwhile, Ravana was now refreshed and he returned to the battlefield. And meanwhile, because Ravana was on a chariot and Lord Ram was standing on his feet, he was on the ground, not on a chariot. So the demigods who were watching this battle from behind the clouds, they felt this was not a fair battle because either you should have two people fighting on the ground or you should have two people seated on a chariot. So the Indradev then sent down his personal chariot with his chariot driver, whose name was Matali. And so the chariot and Matali appeared before Lord Ram and said, please accept our service. And after circumambulating that particular chariot, Lord Ram then ascended onto the chariot, and then a fierce battle ensued. And again, Lord Ram fought so ferociously that Ravan was again taken away from the battlefield by his charioteer because Ravana had fallen unconscious. When Ravan regained consciousness, he was very angry to find that his charioteer had taken him away from the battlefield. He began to chastise the charioteer, but the charioteer explained that you were unconscious and therefore it was important for me to take you away. So somehow the other Ravana was satisfied. And meanwhile, what happened was that Agastya Rishi came, he personally appeared before Lord Ram on the battlefield. Now, for those of you who have read the Ramayana, you will remember that when Lord Ram was in exile along with Sita Devi and Lord Lakshman, they had come from Ayodhya to Chitrakoot, crossing the Ganga, and then they had gone to the Dandakaranya forest, the forest of Dandaka. And on the way, they had also stopped at the ashram of Agastya Muni. So at that place, Agastya Muni had given some nice weapons to Lord Ram, including a certain celestial arrow. So the same Agastya Muni, he now appeared on the battlefield to Lord Ram and said, Ram, now you should chant this particular mantra that I'm giving you. It is called the Aditya Hridayam. So Aditya refers to the sun, S-U-N, sun. Uh, Aditi, Aditya also refers to the son of Aditi. So S-O-N of Aditi. So all the demigods are also sons of Aditi, the 10, like Dvadash Aditya, the 12 Adityas. So it was a message worshipping the sun. So in that mantra, there was invocation of the glories of Lord Narayan who resides within the sun. And Agastya Muni said that for one who chants this mantra, he will become free from sin, his life will be prolonged, and he will be able to trod on the path of dharma for the rest of his life. And if you successfully chant this mantra properly, then you will be undefeated and you will be able to conquer your enemies. So then right there on the battlefield, Lord Ramachandra recited this Aditya Hridaya mantra. And then meanwhile, Ravana returned and again the fighting continued. And there was more and more fighting going on, very fierce battle that went on and on and on. And a certain point came in that exchange when Sri Ram, he cut off one of the heads of Ravan. But again, as we've all heard from childhood, that each time one of the heads was cut, it would grow again. So Lord Ram would chop off the second head and the first head would come back. Then he would cut off the third head, the second would come back. So in this way, as Ram continued to chop off the heads of Ravana with his weapons, the heads just grew back. So now Ram was flustered as to what to do. Meanwhile, Matali, the charioteer of Ram, who was actually the charioteer of Indra, he said, my lord, you are fighting very defensively, but you are such a powerful personality, you should fight aggressively on the battlefield. So then Lord Ramachandra realized that, and he once again he began fighting, but this time he took up that bow, that arrow rather, which Agastya Rishi had given him. And this was a bow that originally was given by Brahma to Indra. And from Indra, it somehow came to Agastya Muni. And this was like a powerful Brahmastra weapon. So when Lord Ramachandra started using that, the Rakshasa armies were devastated completely. And eventually, Ram shot this arrow straight into the heart. Earlier, he had been trying to to chop off his heads and kill him like that, but that was unsuccessful. So now he shot this arrow straight into the heart of Ravana. And then with a gush of blood, the heart emptied of blood and Ravana fell down dead onto the ground. So there was cheering in the Vanara camp. There was cheering and glorification of Lord Ram by the demigods who are watching from the skies. And the whole world today celebrates the killing of Ram, or by Ram of Ravana. So meanwhile, what happened is that all the queens of Ravana and the others came there and they were wailing and mourning. Mandodari, the wife, the chief queen of Ravana, was actually one of the very chaste women. In the history of Vedic culture, right up with, Arundhati and Anasuya and so on, Mandodari has a very high position because she's considered to be a very, very chaste lady. So she came and she was bemoaning the loss of her husband and was hoping and praying. She was lamenting the fact that her husband did not listen to good advice. And now this tragedy had befallen them. The whole kingdom was destroyed now. Millions of soldiers were killed. So, anyway, they were lamenting like that. And at that time, um, also Vibhishan came along. When Vibhishan came, uh, he said, although he is my brother, but because he has been so cruel and he has trodden the path of adharma, therefore I don't think that he deserves a proper cremation and the religious ceremonies. So I think I will not cremate him. But Lord Ramachandra said, no, you must do that. So Ravana may have made many mistakes in his life, but he was ultimately your brother and he was a great hero. So Lord Ram was very magnanimous. He had a big heart. So he said, you please um, do the proper rites, the last rites for him, and perform the funeral that is befitting of the king. So then hearing that advice, uh, Vibhishan performed all the last rites. And then Lord Ramachandra asked Lakshman to perform the installation ceremony of Vibhishan in Lanka, in the city. Why did Lord Ramachandra ask Lakshman to do that? Why did he not do it himself? A similar thing happened in Kishkinda. After killing Vali on behalf of Sugriva, Lord Ram asked Lord Lakshman to anoint um, Sugriva and do the Rajyabhishek or the royal ritualistic bathing ceremony and all the other functions. Because Lord Ram had taken the vow that he would be in the forest for 14 years and that he would never enter a city. Now, Sita Devi and Lakshman had not taken that vow. They had only agreed, they only volunteered to accompany Lord Ram. So therefore, Lord Ram could not enter into any city. So he could not enter into Lanka city also. So there, Lakshman went inside and Vibhishan was coronated. It was a grand coronation ceremony. So Vibhishan became the king of Lanka now. He succeeded his evil brother, who was Ravana. In the meanwhile, Sita Devi was anxiously waiting for news of the battle. And she was waiting for her husband, Lord Ram, to come to take her back to Ayodhya. So Lord Ramachandra, he sent Hanuman to Ashok Vatika. Please go there and try to see and give the news of our victory in the battle to Sita Devi and come back and tell me her reaction. So Hanuman went there and Hanuman saw Sita Devi. Sita Devi was overjoyed to see Hanuman and especially to hear the news that Lord Ram, her husband, had emerged victorious in the battle. So she became very happy and she said, I'm very happy and I'm waiting for my Lord to come here and take me back. Hanuman, meanwhile, was looking at all the female Rakshasas, the Rakshasis who were there, who had been deputed to guard Sita Devi over there. So Hanuman was still in the mood of the battle. So he said, these Rakshasis who have been here, who have been your guards, they have tormented you a lot. They have kept you under captivity. So I think I will kill them. I will destroy them. Just give me the order and I will see that they are destroyed. And so Sita Devi said, no. It is not their fault. They were only following orders. So please do not cause harm to them. Even if they have troubled me or harassed me for some time, it's all right. And then Sita Devi went on to narrate a little story, which you may have heard also many times. He told the parable of the hunter and the tiger and the bear. I think many of you will remember that. So what happened was that there was a hunter who went into a forest. Now it so happened that he lost his way. And also a tiger began to chase him. To save himself, he climbed up the nearest tree. But when he climbed up, what did he see? That he had a fellow resident on the tree, and there was a huge bear over there. So he got alarmed. There is a bear here on the tree where I am, and there is a tiger below. So he was thinking, either way, my death is now assured. So the tiger spoke to the bear and said, "My dear bear, see, we both belong to the animal species. And the hunter is a human being. And what's more, he's a hunter. So he's our common enemy. So we should cooperate and collaborate to kill this hunter. So what you can do is to please push uh, this human being down from the tree so that he will fall to the ground, and then I will kill him, and then I can eat him." So the bear said, "No, I cannot do that because he has taken shelter of my abode. And it is the proper etiquette that when someone takes shelter of oneself, one should not drive that person away. One should not cease to give shelter to that person and betray him. So I cannot do that." So the tiger was disappointed. So now he spoke to the human being after some time when the bear also was asleep. And he said, "My dear hunter, let us make a deal. We will cut a deal. And the deal is that you push the bear from the tree. The bear will fall down to the ground and he will still be half in his sleep. And then I will kill him. And then I will be able to eat. And then I will give you all protection. Then I will make sure that you are safe in the forest. Nothing will happen to you." So what did the human being do? He immediately pushed the bear. So who's better, a human being or a bear? So as the bear was falling from the higher branches of the tree, he woke up, and mid-air, he somehow got his senses back and he held on to one of the branches. And then he climbed up the tree again. So the bear saved himself. Now, the tiger spoke to the bear again and said, "Just see, you have given shelter to this person. You have done him such a big favor and you have saved his life. And how is he returning this favor to you? By betraying you. So he has become a traitor. And now he has tried to push you down from the tree so that I could eat you. So at least now you should push this hunter down and let me kill him and eat him." So the bear replied that, uh, a virtuous person, a pious person, a saintly person should never hold the harm that others do towards him in his or her mind. One should not do evil, even if other people have done evil against us. Now, this was a very tall order ordinarily, but this bear was so dharmic that he could do that. So then the bear was pacified, he remained, and then Sita Devi said to Hanuman, so in the same way, these Rakshasis, yes, they have tormented me at times with their hideous faces and so on. They have given me a lot of fear and anxiety, but ultimately they were acting out of the orders of their master. If they had not done it, they would have been killed. And also, even though they have tormented me, I should not take this torment very seriously. And even more so, I should not try to return that torment to them. I should forgive them. So in this way, Sita Devi prohibited Hanuman from killing the Rakshasis who were the guards for her. So Hanuman went back to Lord Ram and he gave the good news. And Lord Ram was very happy. Eventually, Lord Ram came to Sita Devi, and then they all eventually sat in the Pushpak Viman, yes, which was now there at his service. and the Pushpak Viman came. It was a kind of a, some advanced artificial intelligence where uh, the machine is able to think of, able to respond to your thoughts, not just your physical actions, like swiping some card or maybe moving your hand or speaking some words. So that is one kind of artificial intelligence. You can do that electronically with some sensors and so on. But here, this kind of artificial intelligence without implanting any chips or something inside the brain, such were the powers that the Pushpak Viman would understand that Lord Ram needs him now. So the Viman came, and Lord Ram kept together all the soldiers of the Vanara army. Initially, he brought them all back to life, of course, and they all sat in Pushpak Viman, and then they all headed towards Ayodhya. And of course, as you all know, Ayodhya, the day that Lord Ram arrived in Ayodhya is celebrated as Deepavali, because all the residents there, they lit rows of lamps in their houses, along the roads. Avali refers to a row. So Deepa and Avali, which means rows of lamps. So the people of Ayodhya used many, many rows of lamps to welcome um, Lord Ramachandra and Lord Lakshman and Sita Devi. But that was at Diwali time. So there are still about 20 days left for that, roughly, I think, or more. So in any case, and this is how Lord Ramachandra defeated and killed Ravana and established a dharmic king like Vibhishan on the throne. So this is a very, very famous pastime. And of course, it has its own significance. In short, it signifies the victory of dharma over adharma, the victory of good over evil, the victory of spiritual power over material power. It also teaches us a lesson of how one should always be on the side of the Lord. If one is not on the side of the Lord, on the side of bhakti, however powerful one may be, one's death is eventually assured. So whether it was Hiranyakashipu or Shishupal or Ravana, Dantavakra, the lesson is the same from these incidents. So also the heads of Ravana may be considered to represent our anarthas in the heart, because they are there and we try to do something to somehow move them out to clean our hearts, but these anarthas don't go away so easily. They're there. They rear their ugly head once again. So we have to actually address the heart of devotion. So by regularly chanting the holy names of Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, and his transcendental energies, we will be able to overcome the weaknesses of our heart and eventually attain success and victory. So on this day, we can pray to Lord Ram that he may kindly shower his mercy upon us, that we may win our internal battles and that our inner anarthas may be killed and destroyed by the Lord's mercy. And we can remember the Lord and his beautiful pastimes. And finally, we can also prepare for the holy month of Kartik that is only a few days away. So Shri Vijaya Dashami Mahotsava ki Jai. Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.